Check Game Podcast.
New episode of Check Game.
Episode of Check Game Podcast.
So welcome back to Check Game.
All right, so welcome back to Check Game Podcast.
All right, welcome back to Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game.
Yo, welcome back to Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game.
Hey, yo, welcome back to Check Game, man. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams.
Got an opportunity to share a game. You know, it's called Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game Podcast. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams.
I'm here with your boy Fats. What's up, cuz?
What's up, blood? How you doing, man? And today, our topics is going to be about now and then with the college sports basketball, where it's at today. And we also want to shout out to some of the guests that we just had. We want to thank Randy Foye for coming through. We want to give Tim Thomas a shout out for coming through. And those was our guys. So thanks to both of y'all. I want to pass it to you, Al, since we going to start off like this. I know you want to shout out your guys. Those your boys. How you feeling today, man?
Good, man. I just, it's always appreciative. I'm always appreciative. I know you are as well when people take time and come spend a little time with us, share their story and talk things and whatever the topic can go, wherever it can go. But I mentioned to you, even off a topic and just on our own time and face, that Tim was always my guy. Randy was my youngin', man. And it's a pleasure to see how they've just navigated through life, how they got to this point, man. And Tim, he set a fire a little bit, man. He talking about Jersey, and South Jersey as a whole was better basketball. It was better basketball in South Jersey than it was in North Jersey. And reading some of the comments and seeing some of the responses, man, was interesting to see what people really thought. Mm-hmm. But also, I talked to Tim after that, and his perspective was, as a whole, again, what I mean? And guess what? Some people view basketball differently. I mean? It might be talent. It might be who produced the most pros or the most players or who has the best schools or the championships and all that. So it's interesting to hear from Tim, like his lens of, as a whole, certain schools are just better and their programs are better consistently and over time. So, it was interesting to hear his point. And then also with Randy, man, and all this stuff, like Randy, it was dope to hear him, give a lot of credit to people who don't get a lot of credit. And he was talking about guys in the streets who really kept him on the right path and kept him, focused on being what he ultimately became. So giving shout outs and never forgetting that, paying homage. And also, I also enjoyed the part where he was talking about he had to make that decision whether he was going to go to the pros or stay in college at his senior year. And he made that commitment to his grandmother. And just, faced with those type of conversations and those decisions is interesting that people go through, and that a lot of us don't have a clue why people do what they do. Some people say, man, he tripping, I can't believe this, or some people, whatever the case may be, but there's internal conversations, there's internal relationships that people have that people from the outside don't even have a clue. So, man, shout out to them for coming through, man, and I know you was appreciative too. What you took from some of those conversations?
I enjoyed the comment section with the North Jersey, South Jersey thing. I mean, I think we at some point we can try to settle this to see who's what is what.
Oh, we gonna settle this.
I thought it was fun that we was able to get a lot of interaction from all the guys that watched the channel. Thank you for entertaining the conversation. It was good to have Tim talk about him being a 18-year-old kid that got $12 million from Adidas as a first year in college. Randy Foye being from the hood and making those decisions. And like you said, like the dope boys or the guys in the street, when they see talent, like they don't get applauded enough that they will steer you in the right direction. They will support you. They will make sure you got gym shoes, or they will give you a few extra bucks so you don't have to make any bad decisions in the street. So I was happy that Randy highlighted that. That reminded me of myself when I started to play a little bit of ball. Some of the street guys had leaned into me financially, so I knew what that was all about. Tim, it was just cool to have him. He was a big time prospect, him and Kobe, number 1 and number 2.
Yes.
Him playing at the Knicks right across the street from where he lived, getting drafted to Jersey. I mean, as a kid or as an NBA guy, I mean, could you imagine that experiment or that joy you must have felt, right? Like, I'm from Philly, getting drafted by the Sixers. Like, that would be crazy. So for Tim to experience that, I felt the joy, and I was happy he pressed that joy on our platform to make our viewers understand what that must have felt like for him. And then also him doing 1 year at Nova, the respect he had for you and the way you treated him. It was just good to hear those conversations, and I really do appreciate both of them stopping through and giving us some game on that right there.
Yeah, no, facts. That was something where, again, we see the landscape of sports
Mhm.
and whereas they amateur sports and it's not even amateur more, it's college. I mean, guys are getting paid, so they're professionals and essentially they're professionals. When you get paid to do something, you hop over that amateur and that youth side. You're a pro now. So I saw him not really understanding the pro life, but also understanding how to navigate through certain pressures and certain environments. And again, Tim did an outstanding job, man, as an individual. Played his game, spoke for itself. Freshman of the year in the Big East and all that stuff. And I think it might have been National Freshman of the Year. But the way he stepped on campus again fast, and I mentioned it during the podcast, that it was very humble, respectful, and just was ready to work and ready to do what he needed to do from the time he was there. So, and it was interesting to see him say, I was like, if you was a coach, would you recruit a one and done type of player? Because sometimes they can impact your program for the long term. But it's a different day and time, and I know we wanted to get into that because those guys from college, great college careers, and where we see college at now, and there's a few incidents that happen, and just as of late that I know we have opinions on, and I would love to hear what you got to say. What's your details, and what's what you got with?
So what my issue today is that again, if you guys been following this, y'all know I'm more for the player than the organization or the university or the company. I'm geared much towards the player because it's a partnership, and it seems that the organization or the university or the company gets a more benefit of the doubt than the player does. And for instance, with this guy, the coach at UCLA, he threw a guy out the game
Is it
because
Cronin?
Yo, Al, so the position I'm taking with this is like the athlete has been, I side with I side with the player. You know how I am with the organization. If you've been following us with the university, the organization, or the company, I'm not for that because it's an equal partnership, and the emotion towards the university or the organization is not the same when a player make a decision. Let's start here. For instance, the other day on First Take, if we had to get into it, they were so harsh towards the kid Darren Peterson for checking himself out the game, which I'm not going to say I agree with or I don't agree with, but the way they pressured him or demonized him on national television, I didn't agree with. We don't know what his family have in place for him. We don't know which way he's trying to get to the NBA. At this stage in life, this is not a scholarship program anymore. This is business. This kid is trying to make a way to the NBA. And if his way to the NBA is a way you might not like, keep your emotion to yourself. You just don't like it. But for them to get on top on television and say he shouldn't be drafted number one, I wouldn't go after this kid. Like, that's too egregious for a child trying to find his way to the NBA. So I didn't like that not one bit because this is a young black man trying to find a way to the NBA. And here are two black men on national television pushing this kid down for no reason. The kid is at a University of Kansas. Clearly he got his head on straight. He's got a scholarship. He's got mad game to push him that far down because he wanted to check himself out the game without any of us having information on why he would do such a thing. I thought that was harsh and egregious. What I didn't really like about that either, Al, is that ESPN, First Take, none of those guys mentioned Mick Cronin and UCLA throwing out the kid Stephen Jamerson, which I thought was egregious. There's another act where the coach has took his authority and threw a kid out because he has the authority. The kid's Darren Peterson, he's got the ball in his hand. He told the coach, look, I'm done for the day. I've done enough. We up 20. I'm out. That emotion towards Peterson was so egregious. There was nothing on ESPN about Mick Cronin yesterday. I'm throwing the child out because he was upset with the child. Not that the child done anything crazy, that they was losing and he threw a child out the game. ESPN didn't cover a word of that. I just don't like the emotion towards the university and the way that they treat these young kids trying to navigate themselves to a higher place in life with finance. This seems like everybody's stuck on the scholarship or the education piece. This is business now, man. These kids are trying to find a way to take care of their parents, support themselves in life, and get ahead in life. I don't like nobody demonizing no kids. And then why is there never any negative energy towards the university? I didn't hear nothing about Mick Cronin throwing this kid out as if that was acceptable, but it's unacceptable when a kid has the ability to get up 20 points and say, you know what? I'm done for the day. I'm going to pack it in. I'll see y'all next game. What's your thoughts on that?
But first of all, using words that I don't understand, so I'm going to take it as a sign of disrespect. So
Yes.
watch your mouth. You're using egregious and demonized. There's some big words for today, man. You watch your mouth. Nah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Hart, what was it? I forgot what movie that was. You watch your mouth. You're using words. I'm gonna take them as disrespect, but I agree with you, man. It's interesting the dynamics again. It's changed so much to a degree where people true personalities are gonna come out, and you hear it a lot on TV. So when you hear the First Takes and all these other shows and either podcasts, a lot of people saying things just to say things because they got to say things and start some conversation. I get it, but again, when you're dealing with somebody's life and you're dealing with, somebody's future, you got to be careful. But this is what we signed up for. Like, so if you're a kid, what's the kid from Kansas name?
Darren Peterson.
And he's supposed to be a number one pick, potentially a number one pick.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that come with that. And I think what people aren't used to and they haven't gotten used to yet is the athlete in college and in pros, which is all pros now because they're getting paid. They're having more power. They're
More
having
power.
more,
That's right, Al.
and they can make their own decisions. And at some point, you gotta bow down. You've seen the college landscape change. You can transfer without any penalty. Now you're getting paid, and players having more power, and coaches aren't used to that. Coaches, when I was telling a story the other day when I was in Vegas. They go Vegas again. And I was talking about UNLV and I was talking about J.R. Rider. And the story came from another assistant coach when Riley Massimino was there. And J.R. Rider had an opportunity to break the, I guess, all-time record in college with the most consecutive 30-point games in college history. And I think he was at 9 or 10, I can't remember, but he went to a game and he had facial hair. And the rule was there was no facial hair allowed as a player. And he went, warmed up. They took him out of the warm-ups and said, hey, man, you can't play until you shave your face. And JR, and this is a story I heard, so I don't know the truth of it, but this is the premise of college back then. He's like, no, I'm not shaving. I want facial hair. And they wouldn't let him play. He ultimately went to the back, shaved his face, came back in the game later, and I think he had like 28 or 29 points. He never broke the record, whatever the case may be. But there were always rules in place where this is the authority, this is the leadership, and everybody follow it, no matter what. And if you don't follow it, you're wrong, and you're going to get penalized. Nobody has really come to grips with that shift. But what I will say as a young person, and what I would say as a young person trying to attain something, sometimes, and you heard me say this, Fat, it's not about the best players. It's about the players that can handle the bullshit the best. So I feel like when you are in position or you're trying to get somewhere, sometimes you got to play the game. And you can say that's right or wrong, but if you want to get to someplace, my approach will always, all right, I'm going to play this game until I get to a point where I can say, I can do what I need to do. So as a young player, sometimes you got to go by the rules. Sometimes you got to go by what you signed up for. And like I said, I'm with you. I'm not saying what's right or wrong. And then also, you don't know why this kid's taking himself out
That's
the
right.
game.
Right. We don't know.
I mentioned to you the other day, all this gambling stuff, this man could be getting calls. He could be getting DMs. Hey, man, you hit another 3 or you hit 4 threes today and you're not playing. You cost me money, your family, whatever. We've seen that happen. We know those are the possibilities. So I think we need to be more responsible in investigating and doing more research to why people are doing what they're doing. And the last thing I'll say, even the guy Cronin, man, he's just way out of pocket. He's out of pocket. I watched that incident when the guy got the flagrant foul. The referees didn't kick him out. He kicked him out. So don't know what's going on. But as a leader, you got to conduct yourself as a leader, dog. You can't be fluid of emotions and decision making from emotions. And then I don't know if you saw his interview, I think on a separate incident when he went at the kid or another reporter when they asked him about, I think, Michigan State's student section. He said, man, I don't care about that. That was a dumb question. That was the best question. Like just being an asshole to that guy as well. So he needs to be checked. He really needs to be checked. But I will say this, Fats, I truly believe these coaches right now, they haven't fully adjusted to the fact they got to pay these young players. And I don't think they like paying these young players. So I think automatically their attitude is going to be as such. Man, I'm not really, and they got a short temper, they got a short fuse, and the dynamic between a head coach and a player has definitely shifted. it's unfortunate, man. But to your point, man, people definitely got to check themselves. And then outside, people are still looking at these young kids as pros because they're getting paid. They're not all the way emotional. They haven't figured it out yet. They still navigating through the early stage of life, man. So I'm with you, man. It's unfortunate that it is, but guess what? This is something that they signed up for, and now what's the adjustment period? What's going to be made?
What I just don't like that energy that a player gets so, again, demonized for doing something that he wanted to do versus the coach and the university. I spoke to you about when Bobby Knight benched Calbert Cheney because he felt like it and damaged Calbert Cheney reputation. How about when Kentucky ran a few of those guys in the ground? Ron Mercer. There's
Derek Anderson, you talking about when Derek Anderson hurt his knee?
He hurt his knee. They ran him in the ground, and that was accepted. What we got to understand is this coach is trying to get another job. This child is trying to get prepared for life. This coach is trying to squeeze the most out of this kid right now. And if he don't get it, he don't care about the kid. The kid realizes the situation and trying to protect himself. I don't see anything wrong with Darren Peterson's decision because it's allowed. He done nothing egregious. We've heard nothing negative about this kid off the court. He at the University of Kansas. You know they don't play. He got to be a button-up kid unless, so I didn't like how harsh they went at him for him protecting his future in the NBA. I mean, the chances of injury could happen. Anything can go wrong. Again, we don't know why he may have set out. He may have an agreement with his mother. We don't know his personal situation either. I just don't like these guys attacking our young black athletes in the space where we now have power. And like you said, I think everybody is having a problem realizing these kids have the power of the sport. It used to be one-sided because we play for a scholarship, and we run to the ground for a scholarship. I remember watching you play. Y'all played completely different back then versus today. You don't have to give so much of yourself today like you did back then to prove your worth. Today is such a faster game. It's such a faster business. The transaction is turning over so much faster. There's one and dones now. You went to school for 4 years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the transition is turning over so much faster. I just don't like the negative energy they gave towards that kid. And nobody said nothing about Mick Cronin throwing a kid out because he felt like it. That don't sit right with me. And I hope Darren Peterson and his family, I hope he get drafted number 1. I hope he have a great career in the NBA. I just didn't like that those guys decided to bash him and make him out to be a bad guy because he thought this was a good time to take myself out the game. I finally got power. I finally got control. I don't have to wait on him. And I'm not saying it's the best way or the wrong way. I'm not here to declare that. What I'm saying is now the player has some power. And like you said, everybody's having a problem adjusting to this. And I just think it's the new landscape of sports, though. Al, it's money involved now. That kid trying to take care of his family, man. What you think on that, Al?
No, I mean, without knowing anything, and let's just say, let me be this guy. This is a guy who's sitting there saying, you know what, I did enough. I'm taking myself out the game. I'm protecting myself. Or we see in NCAA football where guys not playing a Pro Bowl because
right.
They get their draft status, or you know what I mean. Back in the day, we saw these opportunities. Whether you're playing on TV, whether you're playing against another top tier program or player, I'm going to play because this is going to enhance my draft status. Mm-hmm. The NBA and the NFL now, their process of drafting, it allows a kid to skip out. It allows a kid to make these certain decisions because that's just how they're drafted, whether it's off potential, whether it's off another leveraging tactic to get somebody on their roster or whatever the case may be. But if you're a kid and you're not maximizing your opportunity, forget the sport, forget the program, you're cheating yourself. And I think ultimately the way you handle one thing is the way you handle everything in a lot of cases. So if this kid has taken himself out the game, and my thinking, I'm gonna be 100% honest. If you're not hurt or you're not tired, you gotta play, man, because you're playing. And this is where I'm thinking. You got other people that's relying on you on that court. My teammates relying on me on the court. I made this commitment to play. Okay. I love to play. Fuck everything else. I love this shit, dog. I'm not going in there and doing anything else. I think that's where a lot of former players and a lot of people see it like, Yo, dog, you're supposed to love this. You take somebody like a Ben Simmons, where you saw or you questioned the fact that he actually loved the game once he got to the NBA. But if you rewind back and you saw him at LSU, you saw him not playing the NIT. You saw a documentary come out and him talking about, you know what I mean, pretty much he's doing it for the money. And then fast forward when he's in the NBA, you see what happens. And as a scout, as an executive of an NBA team, before I pay you millions and millions of dollars, I'll make a commitment to you as a number one pick or a lottery pick or whatever the case may be. I gotta investigate all of this. And then I gotta investigate your personality. I gotta investigate really your motives of playing this sport before I put it all on you. So when you're a young player, like all of these young guys are, you gotta understand that's what comes with it too. When you make these decisions, you gotta be able to stand on the consequences. But to your point, before I know any of the details, I wanna know why you wanna take yourself out the game and not play anymore. Is it to protect yourself? Is it that you're mad at the coach? Is it you're not feeling well? Is it that you got a DM and say, hey man, if y'all win by more than 15 points,
Mhm.
I'm this, and this. So there's a lot of situations in these kids in these kids' lives. We didn't have social media. People didn't have all the access to us. We go out there, play, go to our dormitory, lay it down, get back up the next day, go play again. So there's so many pressures on these kids, man. And again, they're on a microscope. And I think it's a great example for a young kid to understand you're in a microscope. So everything you do and everything you say will be judged at some point. So again, I'm for you got to play, dog. But I don't know why you're not playing. So before I grind you up, I'm going to take the responsible approach and listen to both sides. But as a coach too, Fats, I can understand too. If I'm coaching somebody and my best player and I'm rolling, and I don't think this is the first time he's taken himself out the game. I think that's
Mhm.
part of the argument and discussion as well. I'm looking at you crazy. You're getting paid. You're getting paid to come here and play. I'm not
Mhm.
paying you to come here and sit down
Mhm.
and take yourself out the game when you feel need to take yourself out the game. If you're taking yourself out the game for your own personal motives.
Where I sit with you, and I think any athlete that watches can understand this, I sit with you where only harm I see him doing is to his teammates. That's a letdown. If I was out there with Marv Jarrett and one of them decided to let us down, or that take away from the group.
Mm-hmm.
But in the hindsight of protecting myself and making my teammates understand, look, I got a chance of being a draft pick where I could change my entire family's livelihood. Nix the basketball game. Like, I hear you with the Ben Simmons thing, and everybody don't love basketball like y'all guys love it. You know, and I think y'all expect that as NBA guys. If you don't love the game, oh, you ain't into it. Nah, I'm just good enough to come get some money and get out of here. What's wrong with
Mm-hmm.
that? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that plan. If I'm 6'10", I can dribble, dunk it, get me 250, and change my family's life. I think that's a win-win-win for me if I'm looking at it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So I do agree with you on letting my team down. I do. But if I'm making my team aware and my team aware, like, look, man, I got to hold myself together because I don't want to lose this draft spot. I'm not going to say I agree with it or disagree with it. I can see where you're coming from. I also understand where you're coming from when you say Fats. If that's what you're going to do, it might hurt your draft stock. Like Stan, it might fuck your joint up if you keep sitting out. No, NBA might not pick you as a lottery. So the
Mm-hmm.
kid got to stand on that. I'm with you there. But far as him or any athlete that's looking at the NBA as a window of a stepping stone, if I can get in there and get me 6 million, change my family life and start a company, that's a win for us, yo. Everybody's not gonna be Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, get a 20-year career in the NBA. That's not gonna happen. So if I can just get in there as a lottery pick, and the lottery pick is getting what? A guaranteed 3 years, $56 million or something. That's a win for me. Everybody's not going to be Kobe Bryant. Everybody's not going to love basketball that much. People going to want to play. And it seems like the NBA guys or the media are trying to tear down the guys that don't love it. I don't have to love it. Maybe it comes easy to me, a la Ben Simmons. It seemed like it just gave him the ball and it was pretty good for just being tall and could dribble the ball. So maybe the game comes easy to me and I can go get me some money and change my family's life. Don't bash me for that. I don't like that you're putting the player down because he not putting in what you think should be enough to satisfy your itch. Oh, he not committed. Oh, he don't love the game. He can't be that nice if he didn't love the game, Al.
Uh,
He can't be that
yeah,
nice. He nice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. To a degree, And like I said, it's not always the best players. It's not always the best players in the NBA. We can put the narrative on it. These are the 450 best players in the world. It's a holistic approach that make you a pro. It's a mindset. It's an approach. It's a work ethic. It's your attitude. It's your skill set. It's your opportunity. It's so many things that go into somebody having a great career and being a great player. But I think the first thing is it's internal. It's what you have inside of you, the drive. You talk about Kobe and Michael Jordan, and their careers lasted as long as they lasted, and they accomplished what they accomplished. I think the thing that separates guys like that is this. So I think it goes into the point of me saying the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. What are you learning when you're trying to accomplish something, when you're going to accomplish something? Because them checks, getting to the NBA, you know what I mean, it's not given, it's earned. So this whole process of as a young man or as a young athlete, you got to show and you got to prove that you're earning to get drafted, number one, or you're earning to get these checks, or you're earning to be in the NBA. You're earning it. Because if somebody's giving you something, you know it can be taken away quickly. And that money and those ideas and your mindset, that'll have to change for you to sustain. Every individual success got to be sustainable. Every business has to be sustainable. Before you put that plan together, how can we sustain this level so we can be ultimately successful? So I think, these young players, again, they've been put in these situations and they're forced to make certain decisions that may not be the best approach. And just saying if this is his way of protecting himself to go to the NBA, it may not be the best approach because they're 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, have to make a decision for their future. Shit, I'm 51 and I'm still trying to figure some things out for my future. So that's why I agree with you 100%, cuz about we grinding these kids up and we're not grinding up the leadership. We're not grinding up these institutions. We're not grinding up these AAUs. We're not grinding up all these things that are supposed to put these kids on a platform and a pedestal to help them achieve their ultimate success, because everybody has their hands in it and they want something for themselves. So it's do for me, 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 me. And whatever you do, that's you, you, you. And you fall short, then that's on you. I'm going to the next kid. I'm playing with the next kid. And I think, again, no one's really truly adjusted to the fact that these young kids are coming in with so much power, negotiating power. You got a 18, 19-year-old kid saying, no, I don't want it. I want 2 million. I don't want 1 million. Imagine a coach is getting paid 700,000, 800,000. Like, what the hell? How the hell am I paying a kid assistant coaches? Kids on this roster now making more money than me. And people can say what they want to say. It's going to come down to that money. That money really makes somebody lose their mind, man.
That's the money.
That coach that threw that kid out, the way he threw him out, that's something deeper than that. That ain't just your emotions. That's something deeper. That might be something more personal. That might be something we just had it up, because you don't do that. Even if that's what you feel, you're supposed to be a 54-year-old man that's able to control your emotions to say, you know what, stay on this bench. You're not going to play anymore. And when I get to this locker room, I'll grind you up. But I'm not going to do it for the world to see. I'm not going to break you down. You're a young man. So, I mean, I agree with you, cuz, but I also stand on the fact that when you are young, start to realize your maturity level has been accelerated because of the expectations, because of the transaction of you getting money. You have to perform like a pro now. So you got to make decisions like a pro. And some people aren't, psychologically mature enough to do those things.
So I got a two-part question for you, where the first part is that, like you said, everybody's for me. The coach, he's for himself. The coach is dearly for himself in the university. If one of those kids tear ACL, if one of those kids hurt themselves, if anything happened to those kids, that coach is turning the page and he's trying to figure out how can he keep a job and win a championship. So there is no honest love from that coach to that child.
Right.
That's just one part of the question. Second part, I want to say to you, if you were a GM for the Raptors or any professional organization and you've seen this kid's talent, how would you proceed with this kid, knowing he is an excellent talent? Would you investigate him? How would you proceed? Would you judge him? How would you proceed knowing he is a big deal? He's a top 5 draft pick, but he is taking himself out the game in this new age of sports, in this new day. Would you give him the benefit of the doubt? Would you think he's an asshole? How would you judge this kid for trying to protect himself, is the way I see it? How would you judge him if you had to draft him or you had to investigate him?
I'll investigate him if it's worth it, if the juice is worth the squeeze. If it's worth it, I'm going to investigate from top to bottom. I'm going to have him in when we have our player and our workouts. When I sit there, when I go to Chicago and he's there and I got the whole team and formulate questions, the interview process, I'm going to ask him and about like, what's the situation you taking yourself out the game? Why'd you do it? That's part that for me, when I was a scout, that was always the most fun part because I could see if you could play. I could see your work ethic. I could see certain things like that. I can call somebody and say, Fats, tell me something about Jerry Kearse, man. You played with him. Tell me about Marv O'Connor. Tell me about these guys, man. Oh, man, they great dudes. They went to school every day because people are going to be calling these universities. They're going to call a coach, and they're going to get information. But when I got this kid in front of me, this young man in front of me, I'm going to just ask him these questions, man. I'm going to ask him because, trust me, these execs, they have the resources to find out. They look under every rock, every stone. So I would just ask him, and I would see if the juice is worth the squeeze. Is he that good? Am I looking for him to be the franchise? Can he be a franchise guy? Am I looking at the other roster? You know, this guy's personality might not match these other guys' personalities in my team. So I got to look at the dynamic with that. So that's why when I talk about the players, you really have to understand your individual decision is going to impact everybody else. It impacts not just the roster, not just your future, not the long term. You know what? I might have a great relationship with Bill Self. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask Bill Self, tell me about this kid. Bill Self grind him up, promote him, whatever the case may be. And then that information travels amongst all the other 30 and 29 execs around the league. So I would definitely do a deep dive investigation and just ask some questions and understand the landscape of things, understand the challenge for a young man. But my biggest thing is his personality and is he going to have the work ethic to continue to make my investment worth it? And I just think that's how I would approach it from the rip. And I do a deep dive again, investigating this kid because I think from all counts, he's nice enough where it's worth it, man. You can't mess up. These guys are tanking. These guys are tanking, Fats. To get these type of players. These guys, we had an episode on our sports show, Stanking or Tanking. These guys are tanking. The Jazz just got fined $500,000 for tanking. So these are things that players are trying to do. Teams are trying to do to get this player. So it's deeper than just taking yourself out the game and what it looks optically. When I'm making a decision in the franchise, I got to make sure I'm going through every to make sure he's a player we want.
So I need your thoughts on the coach protecting himself. Why is that okay? He could protect himself, but a kid can't. What's your thoughts on the coach?
This coach is out of pocket, dog.
Thank you, Al.
They're out of pocket. I mean, we see it. We saw what's his Lane Kifflin when he just left and went to LSU during the season, during the pro, and that's always been the case. That's always been the case with these coaches, man. You have a few coaches, not taking anything from certain coaches because I've had some good coaches, but at the end of the day, that's their livelihood. They got to win.
Livelihood.
They got to do this.
That's right.
So they ain't got no commitment to the university. They only got commitment to themselves. They'll leave they'll recruit you for the past 3 years and tell you the best. And by the time it's time for you to go there, they go somewhere else. And now you're stuck. And back in the day when a player would have to stay there. That's how you talk about egregious. That's how egregious NCAA was back then. I'm getting recruited. I make a decision to go to Tennessee, and this coach leaves. Now I can't go to Kentucky. I got to stay here in Tennessee. Now if I go somewhere else, I got to sit out. So I'm penalized. So that's the shift where the players got so much control now. But if you just take look at the landscape, back in the day, a coach really got a lot of credit for recruiting. His relationships, his personality. He come in the Fats. He come down to the hood, come down Diamond Street. Damn, coach came down. He must really love me. Come down in his car, spend time with your family, sit in your living room, sit out there on the stoop, hang with the homies, and then it break, and now it's time to go. And I see again, write you letters, make phone calls. Coaches they're not around anymore because they're not. Now, I'm not going down to Diamond Street. I'm going to call Fats and say, you know what, we got $1 million for you. You want it? Yeah, I'll take it. That's it. So by the time you come on campus, I really don't even know you. I don't know what you've been through. I didn't get a chance to really check your temperature, check the personality, meet your family, meet your friends, see where you came from. Sometimes you go right in that portal, and now it's just Fats is leaving from Baylor and he's trying to go here. Man, bang, cut him a check. So now when these players, when it's hot and it's in a mix, practice and games, these coaches don't know Fats. They didn't see you at 18. You come in there at 22, maybe a transfer at night. I don't know you. Now you over here tripping. Now I'm like, hold up, man. Get the hell out. This ain't who I know. So I don't even think the relationship between a coach and player, the way it used to, they don't
Right.
exist.
That's not the
And they
same.
don't
No.
care. I didn't get a
They
chance
don't
to know you.
care.
It's transactional. So I'm gonna treat you how I'm gonna treat you and get the hell out of here until it's on to the next.
That's
So
right.
I really I frown upon coaches. I frown upon
Mhm.
the institutions when it comes to players because I've been in certain situations like that, and I recognize that's why I do not. I stand with you when we don't give enough backlash to these universities and how they
No.
treated the players for years upon years,
Years.
man.
Years. And for us as athletes to finally have some control, some financial stability from the university, they now gotta pay us. We don't have to listen to them as much as it's it doesn't feel like so much of a camp anymore. It feels like it's like, y'all gotta get used to this being evenly distributed. And like you
Yeah,
said, nowadays, the player make more than the coach. So all that down talking me and telling me what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna do. All of that has got to change now because the university and those organizations are accustomed to treating them kids like that. So
yeah,
this is where all this argument is coming because now the kid has enough to be like, man, take me out the game. I don't have to listen to you no more. My check.
Mhm.
So it's coming across a bad way. Well, y'all need to feel this swing because the way y'all been treating these athletes for years has been unacceptable. And it's a new day. And I'm glad that these kids have the power that they have. And it was just upsetting that guy, Mick Cronin, threw the kid Jamerson out the game and embarrassed his family and embarrassed him on national television where you talked about leadership. That was not leadership. He should have put that kid on the bench. And like you said, after the game, we'll talk about it face to face. No matter how upset I was, I don't embarrass my players like that. So if y'all can't highlight him embarrassing his players, why y'all so quick to highlight Darren Peterson embarrassing Bill Self on national television by
Yeah,
telling him after he hit a three, yo, sit me down. I'm cool for the night. So I just
yeah,
don't like that media swing of portraying these athletes as the worst guy on earth because they have power now to path their own direction towards the next phase of life, whether they get in the NBA or not. They have the power now to push you to the side. And it's brand new. And it seems like these emotions towards it, it's just ridiculous to me. Instead of taking time to try and understand, like you said, why or what caused you to be this way. And maybe his answers is satisfying to your liking or whatever, but to judge him or paint him to be a bad person or try to take any of his worth away from him. I didn't like that not one bit, Alvin. That's so unacceptable. Where the next day, Mark Cronin, none of that was on ESPN. I didn't like that, yo. I didn't like
yeah,
that one bit. And so, with the coach having that self-centered power, you're an athlete. We both know this. He thinks about himself. He's trying to get another job. He's trying to win a championship. And if the kids don't align with him, you're going to label them bad apples, bad seeds. Just, Al, I'm glad you're hearing me on this. I'm glad you signed with me this because
no, for sure.
you're an athlete. You went to Villanova. You went 4 years. You played with Lapis. And like you understand what that coaching dynamic is, and you refer to recruiting. It's no longer the same. It's not Alvin. How's your mom? How's your dad? How your sisters? Alvin, can I stop over for dinner? Get to meet her. That's out. It's Al. I got a meal, a meal and a half. You want to play? All right, bet.
Yeah.
So the landscaping is changing, and the transaction is turning over a lot faster. And I think we got to catch up with that.
Nah, for sure. And you look at the player, and a quick story for my experience in college with Coach Lapp. But you look at the player with that recruiting process. So guess what? When I go, you just give me a call. Don't really spend time with me because you're just going to give me some money and think it's going to get me to do what you want to do or just get me where you want to get me. And that's at your university on your program. I'm gonna look at you. I don't have no ties to you. I don't have a commitment to you. I don't have any loyalty to you. You got my money. You got my money the second week of the month. Like, you know what I mean? And then whatever. And then if I feel like something ain't right, then, man, yeah, take me out the game,
Yeah,
dog. I'm not
yeah.
playing for you. Like, it's a bond that always came from that coaching and that player, right? That's what it was supposed to be. That's why we love college sports. That's why we love sports because you saw the dynamic of everybody going out there giving their all for one common goal. At least that's what was told to us, and it was easy for us to abide by that because of the early relationship that was developed. I remember Coach Lapis coming to see myself, Ty Weeks, Reds at the Pizza Hut shoot 3-on-3 classic at Franklin Mills Malls, and that we was 10th, 11th grade. So it started back then. It started, well, 11th, 12th grade. It started back then. But one story, you talk about leadership. And I remember we played Florida on national TV my sophomore year.
Mhm.
And, you know, you're getting hype. And I mentioned you measure your stuff in big games. So it was like our first game on CBS. Villanova started moving up the ranks. Carey would start really balling, and we started coming together as a team. And I was a sophomore, as I mentioned. And it's the least amount of minutes I played the entire time being at Villanova as I remember. Like I don't remember playing much at all. And I remember one time going to the scorer's table and did the ultimate embarrassing thing for a player when you look at that age. Take you to the scorer's table before you check in. No, come back out.
Oh,
Come,
okay.
come. So that you already know the feeling of that, right? And as a coach, I would have an understanding, like, I'm not going to do that to that kid. Let him go in there, whatever, and just see. But I understand from a coach's standpoint, I'm trying to win. I'm in a moment. But he did that. Fast forward, my best friend, one of my best friends, my brother, John Haynes, hit the game-winning shot. National TV, dog. And somehow I'm in the game, whatever. Quick chair, celebrate. You know what I mean? We just beat Florida. I think Florida was 15th in the nation or whatever. They went to the Final Four the year before. We beat them. Big time. Eric Eberst had a great game. Kerry Kittles had a great game. My brother hit the game winner. I got an attitude, dog, because what he did to me. I ain't thinking about the team no more. What he did to me. I'm going to be flying back. I'm in the airport intentionally not talking to nobody. We just had the biggest, probably one of the biggest wins of our young season.
Mhm.
I'm intentionally not talking to nobody. I see him looking at me. Got my headphones on. Yeah, he see me. He know I'm mad. Yeah, I'm thinking totally different than he thinking. The next day, we was on winter break. The next day, he sent two coaches to come get me, Coach Hewitt and Coach Pannone. They come get me and say, "Hey, Coach, want to talk to you." You're damn right he want to talk to me. He got to explain. He got to explain some things to me. He got to explain some things. Why he not playing me? He tripping, man. And
Right.
guess what? I'm about to leave. He tell me what I don't want to hear. I'm out. I'm going to another school. He gets me in that office, Fats. And when I say he tore me a new asshole, dog, about everything. You're not playing like this. He grind me up, dog. Grind me up to a point where I couldn't even say nothing. Then he even got even lower and talk about, and your grades ain't shit. You're messing around in school, and he really let me know while we talking about this. The purpose of that was he could have ground me up in that airport, dog. He could have ground me up in that locker room in front of the entire team. He could have set a precedent, like, you know what, this guy over here being selfish, being an asshole, which I was. And when I talk about leadership, he really showed a level of patience because he
Mhm.
saw it from the rip.
Mhm.
But he tore into me. He tore into me in a private setting. Didn't embarrass me, and it made me reflect. And it stays with me to today because now we were able to have that moment because he recruited me, because he knew in my heart that I wasn't a bad dude. I had a bad moment because I'm young and I'm still thinking about myself. And now I look at these situations where he had every opportunity to tear into me, dog, like in front of everybody. I'm going to set the stage now. Nobody's going to be selfish around here. I'm talking to one, I'm talking to all. So to your point, again, the leadership has definitely shifted. The leadership and their approach has definitely shifted. And that's the most disappointing thing to me because we have a great opportunity to lead these young men and women in a proper direction so they will be more successful because they need us more than ever now because they are given a lot of money early. Their families really don't know the landscape yet, but we do as leaders. And I think to your point, Mick Cronin and these guys showed a bad example of leadership in that particular moment. Bill Self, I really didn't see the whole incident, but I haven't heard much Hall of Fame coach. But we're going to see how it pans out with that dynamic. We know with him and a young player that's projected to go be a top 5, top pick. So again, I just told that quick story because
What was that?
leadership was different. It was times where Coach Lapp used to have us over the house if I struggled. Hey, come over the house,
Put
man.
his phone
My
down.
wife
I
just
bet.
cooked for you. Harriet cooked for you. Come over here. You've been struggling a bit. I would go over his house. I would go see his young son, PD, play, and he talked to me about, you know, what I need to do to go to the next phase and get better. So we had that dynamic. That dynamic doesn't exist any longer because it's so transactional.
I'm just glad you're able to share that with us, Al. And what I like is that the players are now getting some authority, yo, and that just need to
Yeah.
happen because the way it's been for years, a coach can jerk a kid. I talked to you about Coach Knight. taking away Calbert Cheney's shine because he felt like it. The coaches have had the authority for years, and they have embarrassed players. They have hurt players' feelings. They have took scholarships away. They've kicked guys off teams. They've had so much authority to damage players' careers if they felt like it. And if that player agitated them, made them upset, made a remark they didn't like, they have doomed players' careers purposely. And so
Yep.
today, with these guys having the money and the power to stand up to a coach, I'm proud of these kids, man. I'm proud of that guy, Darren Peterson, to show the authority over a Bill Self. Yo, take me out. I'm the man. You working for me now. I love the authority shift because for years, these guys has I'm not going to say every coach mistreated every player, but as athletes, me and you both know, these coaches with authority has abused and mistreated plenty of kids over the years. And I love that the kids now have a space that the coach cannot take your availability, like your years in the program. You know, if I don't play this year and I don't like you, I can transfer. I don't have to stay with you for 2 and 3 years while you mistreat me, where that used to be the setting, right? If the coach don't like me and I got to transfer, I got to sit out a year. There's so much going on to give the coach so much more authority that the kid got to take a step back because the coach hold the cards in his hand. Mark Jackson was on our show, and he said Bruiser Flint went in there with a baseball bat and told him, you better give up them transcripts right now, and I'm going to crack you upside your head. So the authority back then, I'm just saying, I'm glad the child don't need a John Harnett to crack Bill Self in his head anymore. The kid got a couple million, and his game speak for itself. He could tell Bill Self, yo, chill out. I'll catch you next game. So I'm loving the shift in the landscape because it's been unfair for so long. And change, everybody's afraid of change. So everybody's like, you know, what they done on ESPN, I thought they should have done a better job with responding better. They had too much emotional with that, and that just wasn't good where, like, in the beginning of our conversation, you said, we don't know why the kid set out. He might have an agreement with his mother because his mother may need him to go to the pros. We don't know what's going on with his life before we make such a harsh, egregious act or say those things to the child so harsh. I thought we should give him some time to find out why. I'm glad we're able to discuss this. You being a pro athlete. Yeah, you being a pro, you being a four-year at Villanova. A guy asked me yesterday, how many years did you do in college? And I told him you did 4 and got your degree. And he said, that's so rare. You know, that's rare. Nobody does that anymore. But it's good that me and you can have this conversation. And I'm glad we got the players back. We got the kids back. I'm not against the university, but you guys have been in charge for so long. And over those years, we have seen numerous coaches damage college players' career. Like you said, when a pro athlete called, when the organization called Bill Self, he could throw the kid under the bus and they could spread all the way around the NBA. Whether it's true or not, it's still going to be said and spread. That authority and that control, I feel like now has shifted, and the players have some control and some power. And so I'm on that side with them players.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we addressed that Mick Cronin situation. You
don't like my man.
Man, because he embarrassed the child. No different than what Lapis done to you by sending you. That was even more embarrassing, to kick a kid out the game. And then I spoke to somebody too, and I don't like the authority or the masculinity these little men put out towards these big athletes. If he's seen that kid on the street, he crossed the street. Don't talk to me like that because you coaching me, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, don't talk to me like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you seen me outside, you wouldn't be like that. I'll tell you a story shortly. My first year of college, I wound up getting the rebound, and I think I can handle the ball. So I get the rebound, and I'm pushing. And the coach yelled at me, pass the goddamn ball. I took the ball and threw it at him. And he kicked me out the gym, but I was so mad that he thought he could talk to me. Like, yo, money, don't talk to me. I could beat you. You can't beat me. You a coach. You can't beat me, dog. So that authority and that behavior of I'm bigger than you, I'm better than you from a coach. You talking to young black athletes, man, he'll punch your lights out. I don't like that. Mick Cronin is probably 5'7" at best, talking to a 6'8" young black man. Watch your mouth, money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, that when you talk about the logistics of things, so the coach told you to pass the ball, and you passed it all right to him, and you threw it
Do it to
in
him.
the dart. Yeah, you told me to pass it, but yeah, dog. Some of the stories, and you hear it over time, like the way the coaches talk to the players. But again, that was the dynamic. That was expected. That's where we came from. We came from a place where a coach could yell at you and tell you to run 10 suicides, get the hell out my gym, and you go back, you itching to go back. These kids aren't raised like that. They're raised in a way where that and the enforcement is not received like that. And that's where players, coaches have to shift their approach. In college, they've been forced to shift in a way. You hear some of these, man, you can't say anything to these soft kids. If you say something to them, they're going to transfer or their parents going to call. So that has shifted. And I think coaches now, they have resentment behind that. They have resentment towards that they can't just say or do anything to a player without some type of result or some type of backlash or some type of repercussions. It's one of those things where, as you mentioned, we've been saying it over and over like a broken record, but it's true. It's changed. But again, what I will say, and I stand on this, it's not the best players, it's the players that handle the adversity and the situations the best. Because if this is going to be your goal, I gotta sacrifice something. Sometimes I gotta eat something. Sometimes I gotta go to work and my boss is getting on my nerves, man. He grinding me up. I'm working overtime, doing everything for this company. But I gotta eat it because I know what my ultimate goal is. Once I get my ultimate goal, or once I hit that lottery, I'm gonna come in here tomorrow and say, F everybody, man. I'm out of here. You never see me again. So I think a player, you have to be mindful of that. You have to be, I'm not saying that's the route to go. Some people might call that shucking and jiving or selling out. But I'm the type of person to say, recognize what's ahead of you. Let's recognize what can help you get to a point where you can say and do whatever you need to do. First is going to be your game. Your game, you got to continue to work on your game. Your game right now at this phase is going to help you. People they're going to turn the cheek to that other stuff if you're good enough. We've seen it. But as soon as they get a chance to stick it to you, they're going to stick it to you. So that's why I urge these young players and all the people around them, help them do that process. Help them get to a point where they can say, you know what, I'm on my own. I can make my own decisions and it won't hurt you or the family. Because now I had a conversation with a young player before and I say his name because it's my young buck, Jared Jack. He used to play for the Toronto Raptors for a minute. And I've known Jared since he was in Georgia Tech. My old coach, Paul Hewitt, coached him at Georgia Tech. Jared was a hell of a player, hell of a basketball mind. And he was the player that you're not just going to tell me anything as a coach. You're not. He's a strong-willed, strong mind guy who knew the game. So you're not going to just tell me to do this without explaining, especially if I don't agree with it. But the thing about Jared, he would get emotional to a point where he was infectious in a way where he can mess up the entire practice just from his facial expressions. Like, Jared's upset. So people will start looking at him. He had that much influence. And I remember talking to him one time and went to his crib. He had somebody cook his food, had a chef cook his food and everything. I'm sitting over there eating with him. We watching the game. And he was saying that, he always been this person. He's always been that person that is not going to accept what somebody's going to give to him. And as a young player, as a player myself, I'd be like, damn, man, I wish I lived like that. But I also told him, I said, that's how you always been. But now you got more responsibilities. So at some point, you do have to make a shift because it's not just you anymore. How you go about your day to day, it's impacting your mom, your pop, your brothers. This is your family. And you take care, you help out, and they look at you, y'all close-knit family. You do a lot of things, you're gonna have more responsibilities. So at some point, you gotta understand a shift has to be made for an individual, for an athlete. You can be who you're gonna be, but just understand what comes with that. Understand everything that comes and be ready to stand on that. And I'm all for it. But also understand that you do have to, just like these coaches got to make a shift, as a player, you got to make a shift as well, because once you get that money in your pocket, expectations change, responsibilities change, and other people rely on you. And I think we both know, as getting older, it's not just about us anymore. Everything we do, it impacts others. And you got to be ready to stand on that if your decision making impacts others in a negative way or can take food out their mouth or have them looking at you differently. So again, I think it's a great opportunity, a great conversation with me and you, Fats, that it needs to be heard from a responsible and a respectable way. A lot of these guys on these networks, man, they're not respectful. They're not respectful when they talk about these athletes and these people, man. Like to your point, it's like these coaches, you see them on the street and you won't say 2 words to them. You cross the street. So I think we bring a very good perspective and a responsible and a respectful perspective. And I think it's fair because again, we don't know why that kid took himself out the game. We don't know the whole backstory, but we know what it's supposed to look like optically and the responsibilities of every party when it comes down to how they handle in these situations.
So what I'll say is I'm glad we did this. And what I'll say, if the First Take guys or any media hears this, is be more responsible when you decide to judge a child. They're talking about children here. These 18, 19, 20-year-old kids trying to make a decision in sports. Alvin just said he's 51, 52 years old and have a hard
Whoa,
time
whoa,
making a
whoa, whoa,
decision.
whoa.
I'm just saying, you have a hard time making a decision. I have a hard time. These are teenagers trying to go pro. Just don't be so hard on these young black athletes when they're trying to make a way for their life and their family. And I'm sure there's a plan behind it. It's not doing it to disrupt anything. We've never heard anything negative about the kid. So I'm sure there's a plan behind what he's doing. But take a little bit more time before you decide to tear a child down, is all I say, before you use such harsh words on a child when we're talking about a sport of basketball, not a criminal charge, not a felony charge, not nothing that, not nothing so serious.
Facts.
This is a basketball decision. So I think us starting this off, I'm proud we was able to do this, and I hope this reached the right people. And I'm glad this is happening in sports. So I'm glad we got to touch on this. Anything before you want to get out of here?
No, great conversation, man. We got more guests coming up, but just as exciting as that is opportunity to chop it up with you, man. I think also give, our supporters and our viewers opportunity to see where we come from. A lot of us come from the same place, and a lot of us probably have different opinions or similar opinions, but at the end of the day, we can give our opinion. And I'm most appreciative the fact that we can do it in a responsible, respectful way, and really consider people's feelings and people's, their goals, and not trying to step on them and try to get clickbait or anything to get us and downplay them. So I appreciate you even bringing this topic to me yesterday so we can get on it and rap about it.
Well, thank y'all for coming in and checking out Check Game. That's our episode 11. Everything is going well. We appreciate all the support y'all give us. We appreciate all the comments, all the likes, all the follows. This has been a great ride. I'm glad all the interaction we've been getting. Shout out to South Jersey. Shout out to North Jersey. Y'all been showing mad love. So everything is going well. We look forward to keep doing this. Anything before we get out of here, Al?
That's it, man. Let's get out of here. I see you soon, cuz.
Yeah, to catch y'all on the other side. We got new guests coming in next following. So talk to y'all soon, man. Thank you. Shout out. Yeah, that was pretty good. Day left us. Yo, Day.
Yeah.
All right. You got us?